So today I'm going to be reviewing the OnePlus 12R, and I'm honestly reviewing it because I think it's one of the best deals you could find on any smartphone on the market today. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So I know a lot of people don't use OnePlus phones in the US, but I really think a lot of people should consider it because OnePlus is bringing a lot to the table right now with this OnePlus 12R, and I am just completely blown away by it. For one, you could find this phone right now for $499. That is the retail price for this phone. But if you trade in any phone, any condition, they are offering an extra $100 off. So a lot of you out there, if you're looking for a deal, there is an incredible deal to be had on this. But even if you get it at the retail price for $499, think about what you're getting here. This has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. So it's technically last year's flagship processor, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 was a great processor for its year, and honestly, it's great even today. This has a 5,500 milliamp battery. The battery in this is even bigger than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. This phone will charge with 100-watt wired charging. And at least in the US, it comes with an 80-watt charger in the box. We don't get a case here in the US, but either way, that's a terrific deal to get a charger in the box that charges this phone ridiculously fast. Like this phone, I don't have to worry at all about it being charged. It's got a ridiculous battery anyway that lasts like forever. It's got a terrific processor in it, and the display is great. And did I mention that this has the same main camera as the OnePlus 11? So what really is wrong with this phone? Honestly, with all of these specs for 500 bucks, this has to be the value phone of the year, right? Well, if you look at the design, you will see some things you might like or might not like. I don't know. It does feel like a very smooth back here. So technically speaking, it seems to be a glass back with some sort of texture applied to it, but it does feel nice and premium. I don't see anything wrong with the build. Not only that, but we actually get the alert slider here, so you could turn your phone on ring or silent or on vibrate, whatever you want. But to get that in this phone, it's really impressive, and I find myself using it quite a bit. This also has a fingerprint sensor. It is an optical fingerprint sensor, but despite what I've heard from other reviewers, it is super fast and it is super reliable, and it definitely gets the job done. I think this phone looks amazing on the back. I think it has an incredible design. The one thing that I don't like about the design is that this does have a curved screen. So I can't just speak all these positive rainbows about this phone. If you are someone who doesn't like a curved screen, well, that is one of the downsides here. It's the same thing with the OnePlus 12, and I don't like it because it's really hard to put on a tempered glass screen protector. A lot of those screen protectors won't work, and you might have to buy a film screen protector. The good news is OnePlus does actually include a film screen protector on this whenever you buy it, and I was able to find some pretty cheap online. But if you don't like the feel of those or the texture, tempered glass won't really be a good option, at least in most cases. So there's not a lot of compromises there with the design, but I will say the water resistance isn't quite as good as something like the Galaxy S24 Ultra. It will do well against things like splashes, but if you do try to dunk your phone like under some water or something, you're not going to have a good time with this phone. So I'd say it's splash resistant, but I would be careful with it if you're taking it to the shower or something in the morning. When you go to performance with this phone though, it's buttery smooth. A lot of people hate that word. I don't really care. It's 120 hertz. It is pedal to the metal as far as performance. And not only that, when you look at the display on the front, I know it's curved, but the screen just looks so darn good. So it's a 6.78-inch screen. So it is a pretty large phone if you look at that. It's a 2780 by 1264 resolution. And this phone, this is unbelievable. For a flagship phone, and it's sort of flagship in a way, but I know it's only $500. It does have some compromises with it. You would think maybe they would compromise the screen, but no. It gets 4,500 nits of peak brightness. There's a reason why I'm making this video, okay? I know OnePlus isn't the huge popular brand in every single way, but you're getting 4,500 nits of brightness in this phone. It is so ridiculously bright, and not only that, the resolution is so good. It's an AMOLED screen that honestly, if you compare the screen in this to something like the Galaxy S23 Ultra, I think this phone is even better than that as far as the display. And with the brightness levels and everything like that, wow, I am just blown away. It looks amazing. So when I'm watching entertainment, it looks good. It gets super, super bright if you are in outdoor conditions. And that is very, very significant because if I'm spending $500 on a phone, I really want an amazing display, amazing performance, and good cameras and great battery life. I really want everything to be pretty darn good. And the display is really one of the best displays you're gonna find on any smartphone out there. And when you look at performance, you're gonna see the performance is tremendous as well. Now, it's not quite as good as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, I will admit that. It doesn't have the latest flagship processor, but the Gen 2 was a very good processor back in the day. And even now, well, it's not that far. It was just like a year ago, right? But it's still blazing fast now. The point is, it gets the job done. You can go from app to app with absolutely no problem. 8 gigs of RAM in the base model is more than enough. You can go up to 16 gigs if you spend a little bit more money. And there was a little bit of controversy. This does not have UFS 4.0. Oh my gosh, it doesn't have UFS 4.0. You're gonna be fine, okay? Why? Because this phone is ridiculously fast and it's only $500 at the retail price. If you see any sales, if you get any deals like that trade-in deal that was out there at the pre-order time, you're going to be just fine because it does fly through everything I'm doing. If you are gaming, you could still play almost every single game out there on the highest settings. You're gonna be able to fly through everyday tasks and productivity work. You're going to be having a really good time with the performance here. So I love the performance, I love the display, and I love a lot of the extra features on this phone as well. Again, the charging speeds are ridiculous, better than you get on the S24 Ultra. And from what I saw from some teardown videos, I'm sure this is similar to the OnePlus 12, where they had 2 separate batteries to try to make sure you could charge extra fast and to try to help with the heat. I know people are worried about heat wearing down your battery. They do have some settings where you can have it intelligently charge your phone so that it doesn't get too warm. So there is so much to like here. Fast fingerprint sensor, great display, great performance, great extra features that are better than almost all the flagships out there. So what are the compromises, Zach? Like, you might be wondering, what in the world is wrong with this phone? Well, the cameras aren't the best, but they're still pretty good. So the main camera on this is the same camera as the OnePlus 11. So if you look at that, you're gonna get really good shots with it. I think the video quality is still good on it. So the OnePlus 11, it did really hang in there with all those flagship phones, and this phone is going to do the same. It's gonna get really good shots of your kids, in nature, it's gonna get some good 4K video, but it's not going to be the best. So that's one compromise that you have to keep in mind. If you want to zoom in, if you want to use some of those other lenses, you're not going to get great quality. Those other lenses, in my opinion, are thrown in, but they're not really all that great. So if you're someone who doesn't use a lot of zoom lenses, you don't take a lot of zoom shots, you're going to have a really awesome experience with this phone. So that's really about it as far as this phone. You get a curved screen. That's a little bit of a negative for some people. Some people love the curved screen, but I do prefer a flat screen for tempered glass screen protectors. So I don't love the curved screen. I don't love the fact that you don't get really good water resistance. It's still okay, it's still splash resistant, but it's not quite as resistant as some other phones. And as far as the cameras, you don't get the latest flagship camera, you don't get the latest flagship processor either. So those are a couple of minor downsides. If you want the absolute best of everything, well, no, you're not gonna get that, but you'll still get a camera that's close, but you won't get good secondary cameras. You won't get a good zoom camera. And if you look around on the market, there are some phones out there, around 600 bucks or so at least, that would get you a decent zoom camera, especially if you see something like a Google Pixel on sale. But most of those phones won't have a battery this big. They won't have a processor that's this good. They won't have a screen with over 4,000 nits of brightness. They won't have all these features in a phone. So if you find this phone for $400, if you find it for $450, even if you buy this at the retail price of $500, I honestly think this is one of the best phones that you could buy, period. It is certified to work with all carriers in the US, including Verizon. You won't get 7 years of OS updates, but you're still gonna get at least 3 big operating system updates and 4 years of security updates. And truthfully, I think that's enough updates for your average person. Most of us don't keep our phones for that long anyway. I know it's not 7 years, but it's still pretty good for what you're getting here. So is this phone worth buying? Absolutely. If you are someone out there who wants the best of the best and you don't want to compromise a lot, the OnePlus 12, it still has some of the inconveniences here, but it is going to have better cameras. So if you want better cameras, but you still want a really good deal, the OnePlus 12 is a great deal for $800. If you don't want to make really any big compromises, I would say the Galaxy S24 Ultra is probably going to be the best phone that you're going to be able to buy right now. It does have slower charging speeds, but outside of that, you're gonna have a really good experience. But if you want the best phone for $500 and you're just looking at the specs, you just want the best power, you want the best display, you want the best charging speeds, I think you're gonna find it here. I should also mention this does not have wireless charging. That is one other downfall that some people might be disappointed by. But no wireless charging, a curved screen, and some secondary cameras being not that good, those things are not going to keep me away from recommending this phone. Like, this is a really, really good phone. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Please check out some other videos if you get a little bit of time, and check those links in the description. You can find a lot of great deals there. I will share those links below. Finally, I will say thank you so much for sticking with me in my content. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy some other stuff, and I really, really hope you enjoy your week.